What's up, everyone? It's another High Energy Tuesday. Let's go. And so we're going to start this conversation off with just a question. I want everyone to take a moment and visualize, hey, where do you see yourself 20 years from now? What do you want to see yourself doing in the next 20 years? I know some of you have thought about that question before. Some of you have never thought about that question before, but it's time to give some attention to it because we only have so much time on this earth. And I believe that everyone is talented and gifted in some way, and you've got to take the time to really cultivate and work on your talents and gifts, because some of you are up against giants and you're fighting against situations that you never thought you would have to face, and it's wearing you out because you didn't take the time to work on your talents and gifts. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about the story of David and Goliath, for instance. That's a very well-known story. As we know, David got into that battle with Goliath and defeated him with one stone, in a slingshot. And then he finished the job afterwards. But what took place before David got in that arena in the first place? Because that is what we really need to discuss, right now. David didn't have the best start in life. David was in a place where he was the youngest brother, so he got teased, he got picked on. A lot of times he felt like he didn't belong. And I know that some of you are a part of organizations or a part of teams where you may not always feel like you belong. You're a part of something, and it's okay sometimes if you don't feel like you belong. I know that I've walked into rooms before and I've looked around and said, hey, like, no one else in this room looks like me, and I felt like I didn't belong before. And so as David grew up this way, he also had a job to do. And his job, his purpose of what he felt was to protect the sheep and take care of the sheep and make sure that everything was going well with them. And so he did this to the best of his ability. And as he would do this, he also had to learn how to use weapons like his slingshot. Because oftentimes the sheep were attacked by other predatory animals. And so along this journey, even while David is still being teased and felt like an outcast, he is pouring everything he can into refining his talent and skills over time so he could protect the sheep. He defeated, as the story goes, lions and bears over time. And so by the time that David stepped in the arena with Goliath, he wasn't afraid of that giant. The giant who was berating the people and teasing everyone and talking about God, he wasn't afraid of Goliath. When he stepped into that arena, Saul put his armor on him and said, hey, wear my armor. And David replied back, hey, I can't wear that. He took it off of him. I haven't been wearing that. It's too big for me. Some of you are wearing the talent or wearing the garment of someone else. Some of you are wearing the garment of someone else. Take that garment off, because that garment wasn't meant for the battle that you're in right now. You have to understand what your own talents and skills are. You have to refine that. You have to give the discipline necessary to nurture and cultivate it in order to grow into it. So that way, when you're standing tall against your giant, you're not standing in fear, but you're standing in full confidence. On that battlefield, David dug his heels and he took off to a full sprint running at Goliath. And as he approached, he pulled out his slingshot and he put a stone in and he slung it. One shot put Goliath down. And then David said, I'm not done yet. He finished the job with Goliath's own sword. And so that's how some of you are supposed to be. But instead, we're in these battles and we can't figure out like how we're getting worn down. And the key is that in our tough times, we have to refine and grow our skills and our talents instead of trying to wear someone else's garment that's not meant for us. You got goals of where you want to be in the next 20 years. Some of you had goals, and some of you are really successful financially already. You said, hey, my goal is to hit 1 million. If you already hit your 1 million, okay, that's great. But what if you applied a little bit of discipline, a little bit more? Like, what's the possibility of growing that to 5 billion? What's the kind of reach and impact that you can have globally as you continue to refine your own talent and skills? Let's look at Coach K, for instance. Coach K, the greatest basketball coach to ever do it. Him and his wife went on this journey, and they knew that in their relationship, in their marriage, that there were going to be some things that they missed, like opportunities for anniversary nights, or birthdays that were missed, special occasions in some capacity, but they were willing to make the sacrifice because Coach K knew what he had to do. He knew what he needed to bring to the program and what he had to deliver on a grand stage, the kind of impact and influence that he needed to have. And they knew what it was going to take. And so they sacrificed things along the way in order to reach that. Some of you have already sacrificed things. And so if you're standing there, why give up now? Why stop now? Because it's hard? Well, let me tell you something about hard. We weren't created for easy times. As human beings, we were created for hard times. Look at all the trees that surround this beautiful earth. These trees have weathered so many storms, dark storms, heavy storms, and they still find a way to continue to grow. They still find a way to continue to give back to humanity and to the globe in some capacity. And that's exactly how you're supposed to be. You sacrifice too much to just walk away. You've given up time like special occasions. Some of you have missed events, for your kids. Some of you have missed special holidays. I know I missed a ton of holidays. So don't come back empty-handed if you have already given something away, if you've already sacrificed things along the way, because it's not supposed to be easy. But I can tell you that through the storms, through the tough times, through the things that we're going to go through in life, that it's important to take a look back and reflect on it. It's not easy looking back and reflecting on it, but there's something there. There's something there that you're going to learn about yourself. So just like David was going through his own trials as a young man, as he felt like an outcast, as he felt like he was getting picked on and teased, like David still refined his talent and skills. He found out who he was, and he just continued to work on it. He found his way to the battlefield through training and hard work. He found his way under the crown through leadership and loving and empathy and compassion that he was giving to others. He was born to be a king. And I believe that each one of you have a special gift and a special talent that you've been giving, and you just have to apply a little bit discipline. Because I can tell you, even at my lowest moments, I've looked back and I said, hey, where can I apply more discipline? What can I do in order to have a better outcome the next time I face a challenge like this? Get to a place in life where discipline becomes a non-negotiable. Too many of us have things that we're okay with negotiating in our life, but when it comes to your future or the future that you're trying to leave, legacy, you got to have some non-negotiables. And discipline has to be one of those key elements. Hearing feedback is tough. Hearing criticism or constructive criticism is difficult at times. That's all right, because that's what we need in order to grow. That's what we need in order to allow the soul to become enriched with the many things that have passed through our timeline on this journey. So it's still High Energy Tuesday, but if you're learning anything, learn that you have to take some of the lessons that you've learned through your hard times. You can't ignore the storms. We weren't created for easy times. And you have to apply discipline along the way. That's how you cultivate and grow your talents, is you give it discipline. You give it what it needs in order to become who you are. And so if you're facing your giants, face your giants from a place of confidence. Face your giants from a place of strength. Face your giants from a place of kingdom. As a king, as a queen that you are, that you've been created to be. Face your giants in a way that is meaning and impactful to the entire nation, so the globe can grow in a grand way. It's High Energy Tuesday, y'all, and we still got some work to do. Let's go.